Good morning and welcome to April 25th. It's hard to believe that April is about gone, 4 months into 2019. Hey, just want to thank you for tuning in today and remind you about the free report we're offering on retirement. You know, when it comes to retirement, it's kind of a one chance to get it right. There's no really do-overs unless you want to go back to work, which is not something anybody wants to do once they retire. And so we've created a special report on some retirement strategies that I think everybody needs to take a look at before they get ready to retire. To get your free complimentary copy, all you have to do is text the word retirement to 863-285-3815. That's right. Just text the word retirement to 863-285-3815. I look forward to hearing from you.
I'm 3M. I just knew you were trouble the minute you gave us your numbers. There we go. It's time to check in on your money. Not say good morning quite yet. See what's going on Wall Street with our usual check downtown with the offices of Statler Financial Services. Phillip Statler standing by. Phillip, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, Dave. Hey, doing well today. Hope you are too. You know, I'm reminded as I look at the date today that, man, April is almost over.
My goodness, and we're getting into the meat of earnings season, so we've got some moves in order to either save or destroy IRAs and 401ks on at least a 1 month basis. And boy, we got a plethora today. Let's start out with the macro figures, because there is only one first-time jobless claims. 230,000 jobless claims in a week still would qualify as full employment and everything coming up roses. But it was a big increase over prior weeks, and I gather that's not going to help us a bit. Market expected better, didn't they?
Yeah, they really did. I mean, they came in at 230,000 first-time claims. The market was, depending on who you looked at, the analysts were expecting somewhere between 200,000, 202,000. So that's a pretty significant miss, especially when you look at where we've been the last, couple weeks and couple months. So I think that's important to note that we are heading back up a little bit.
Always needs to be taken as a data point, though, is abnormally low as things have been for the last couple of weeks. 1 week up, you got to kind of look at it and say maybe just data point and go from there, don't you?
You hope, but you don't know until the next data point hits, right?
Yeah, that's probably the healthy way to look at it. That's true. Bunch of glamour stocks reporting, and they kind of do the tail of the tape. I'd like to start with Facebook, because their profit year over year was down by like 51%. They showed just a monster increase in their ad sales, but that was enough to make the street happy, and they're right toward the top of my big winner list this morning off of their quarterly report.
Yeah, and so I guess maybe top line wasn't what it was expected to be, but I mean it was, but it wasn't compared to last year. But their earnings beat by a little over 20 cents a share. Revenue top forecast. Now my report, I did finally find it, Dave. You and I were having a little discussion beforehand, but my report says that Facebook's top and bottom lines, as well as user numbers, hit record highs during the quarter. So I'm not sure.
That profit number is interesting. Then I don't know that it came out of one of my news tickers that their overall profit was off, but it still beat the street. One way or the other, the investors are happy. It's up big time in pre-market trading, isn't it?
Yeah, it's amazing to me, because the other thing they said was that they expect to pay a fine to the Federal Trade Commission of somewhere between $3 and $5 billion. That's a B, $billion. But they're
Wouldn't
up.
that be enough to scare investors on a normal basis? Somebody saying, yeah, off in the future, we see a $5 billion expense figure.
Yeah, but they're trading up over 8.5% this morning.
Which means that high-tech stocks sometimes just, you can't always explain them, but the shareholders love it. Another glamour stock that came out, their report this morning, was Tesla. If Elon Musk isn't enough of a dumpster fire in his own right, their financials don't look very pretty this time around either, do they?
Yeah, they had a really rough quarter, Dave. They lost $2.90 a share in the first quarter, and that was wider than the 69-cent a share loss that Wall Street was expecting. So a significant miss on their earnings. And so revenue was also below forecast. Now Tesla did say they expect to return to profitability, not this quarter, not the second quarter, but a third quarter of this year. They're working on cutting costs and improving their delivery, which should help them. And they're trading down, but not near as what you would expect based on the numbers I just reported. They're down about 1.3% this morning.
Lose $702 million in a quarter and say, oh, it's okay, we'll be better in about 6 months. I kind of expect a lower loss than that too, wouldn't you?
Yeah, definitely. I sure would.
The real big impact on the indexes, and when we get to it, it'll become clear. 3M, the makers of Scotch tape, Post-it notes, and all kinds of office sundries, insulation products, you name it. They're a big conglomerate. They just absolutely blew chunks this past quarter, which for 3M is a shock, right?
Well, it is. They usually are pretty consistent, but they did miss by about, I don't know, 26 cents a share, missed estimates. Revenue also fell short. And this is probably the biggest kicker for 3M is they cut their full year forecast and they announced 2,000 job cuts. They're going to cut 2,000 jobs. And so they're trading down 8% this morning.
And according to the calculations I was reading, when you do a price-weighted index like the Dow Jones 30 Industrials, one stock having that kind of troubles, it's going to impact the Dow by, last time they double-checked, like 127-point negative influence on the Dow because one stock blew chunks on their quarterly report.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the difference between a price-weighted and a capital-weighted index. And you're right. The Dow is a price-weighted index, so it does play on that a little harder. And there's only 30 stocks.
Absolutely, and it'll become clear the impact it has when we go through the futures markets. I know you got a bunch of other household names that reported last night and early this morning as well, including Microsoft.
Yes, we did have Microsoft that they beat by 14 cents a share. Their revenue also beat forecast. They're getting a big surge in their cloud revenue and their subscription because they're moving so much stuff to subscription base now, which is helping them. And they're trading up 5% this morning before we get ready to start.
That $5-10 a month fee you pay for Office 365 is evidently adding up for Microsoft, isn't it?
Yeah, it really does. And let's look at the housing market a little bit. D.R. Horton, the home builder, came in 7 cents above estimates. Revenue beat forecast. However, they gave a little softer than expected full year guidance. They're saying, rising costs are starting to play a role and starting to take away some of their profits. They're trading down almost 4.5% this morning.
Ouch. Other household names. We got a whole pile of them. I know I'm going to let you order the rest of them up.
But we do. We had a loss on UPS. UPS came in 2 cents and they didn't lose money. They came in 2 cents short of estimates, though. Revenue missed. And it's kind of like, I don't know if you remember last week we talked about JB Hunt Transportation Company. Mm-hmm. They missed because of weather. UPS is blaming the same thing. Bad weather had a significant impact on their performance during the quarter. And so
I was going to say, I saw that note that UPS said it was primarily weather and wasn't anything systemic. So basically their report said, take a breath, people, we'll be back.
Yeah, they're down almost 3% this morning, given that news. And then we've got, let's see. Let's go to, how about Southwest? Because, airlines have really been in the news this last quarter. Their profits were down 16% from a year ago, basically due a large part because of the Boeing 737 MAX having to be grounded. But they did beat. They beat by 9 cents a share on estimates. And so good things there. Revenue also was ahead of forecasts. So profits were down, but it obviously didn't hurt them significantly in terms of what the analysts thought they would do. So they're up about a little over 1.5% this morning before we get started.
Understood. You also mentioned Comcast this morning before we went on the air. You got some numbers out of them, our cable provider in town. How they doing?
So Comcast beat estimates by 8 cents a share. But their revenue was a little short of what the analysts had expected. They did grow their customer relationship base by 3.5%, and their cable revenue was up 4.2%, and their high-speed internet was up 10%. So yeah. So they had some good numbers there, but they're not being really loved on the street right now. They're down about 0.5%.
That's because they said their stock would be coming in sometime between noon and 5 on Friday. Just like the repairman, right?
Just like the repairman, yeah, exactly. So, though I will say, the last time I had to deal with them, they were pretty prompt.
They've been very good for me too, locally too. I love our local guys. Cracking jokes about cable repairmen is just kind of joke du jour material, but I will give credit. The local Comcast guys, they scramble when you call them. So correct my wiseacre remark and say it doesn't apply to the local people. They treat us real good when we got a problem. I'm sorry.
I said they do a pretty good job.
Yeah, I like them locally. Nationally, when I get on the phone with them, I kind of wonder sometimes, but when the local guys come on board, they're fine. Setting the table for this morning, yesterday was kind of a kiss in your sister day. Everything was really light red in tinge by the time we ended up. Dow was down by 59, NASDAQ down by 18.5, and the Standard & Poor's down by 6.5. But you have to say that everything's right up in nosebleed territory, right near records. So it might have actually just been testing levels. 45 minutes before we throw real money around this morning, Phillip, what direction are we heading today?
Well, it's kind of a mixed bag. You alluded to it earlier. The Dow's getting hurt by 3M. They're down at about $67 this morning, about 1/4 point. The other two indexes have made a pretty good bounce from when I got here this morning. The S&P's up almost $4, and the Nasdaq's up 30. And gold and silver both trading down just a little bit. Crude oil is bouncing back off the close from yesterday. It's up to $66.07 a barrel.
All righty. Overseas markets, I don't even want to think about the crude oil prices now. What's going to happen to gas this weekend? World markets, Asian markets generally off. Some of the Chinese markets were down by 2.5% overnight last night. That's pretty much dragging European markets to a negative tinge as well this morning, midway through their day. Phillip, we got some stuff going on tomorrow. It's time to box up all your old checks, right?
We do. We've got our 8th annual Shred Day. And so we're excited about that. I know I'm hoping and praying that the rain holds off. According to Alan Archer this morning, I think it's going to come in the afternoon, so we should be good. We'll be 10 to 2 behind our office. We'll have the shred truck here. We'll have some hot dogs and soft drinks. So, hey, make your way over to get rid of your stuff that needs to be shredded by a good high-class shredding service.
Absolutely. And you always have plenty of help. So even if there is a drizzle out there, we'll have plenty of help. All you got to do is pop the trunk and tell us what you want to take out, and we'll take care of it for you. So you don't even need to get wet, and then you can amble over to the tent and say hi to Phillip and the crew and get your free hot dog and your soda pop, right?
That's right. Absolutely. Because we'll have tents up to stay dry. So, but I think it's going to hold off until later in the afternoon. So we'll be good from that standpoint. Hey, guys, if it's retirement's on your mind and you want to make sure you're on the right track, give us a call at 382-0037 and schedule your free no-obligation X-ray visit to X-ray your current portfolio. And visit us online at statlerfinancial.com. Join us on Facebook, like our page, Statler Financial Services, and then join us every weekend for the all-important Statler Financial Radio Show, noon on Saturdays, 10 a.m. Sunday mornings on News Talk 730.
And streaming online at newstalk730am.com. Phillip, thank you so much. I'll talk to you tomorrow morning, all right?
All right, man. Thanks, buddy.
Take care, my friend. It's 105.7 Light FM and Statler Financial Services, Phillip Statler.
Hey, I want to thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. I hope you got something out of the show today. I just want to remind you again of our free report on retirement strategies. You know, you only get one opportunity to retire right, and you don't want to mess it up. There's all kinds of obstacles out there. You don't really think about them. Low interest rates, taxes are a big deal when you come to retirement. The stock market volatility. So there's all kinds of things we need to be cognizant of. And this report covers 5 different strategies that you need to be aware of as you head into retirement. All you have to do to get your free copy is text the word retirement to 863-285-3815. That's right. Just text the word retirement to 863-285-3815. Hey, thanks for joining us today. I look forward to speaking with you tomorrow.